evening to you. Thank you so much for tuning in on Truth TV. This is the Now Society program, and with me are a couple of amazing panelists, and I'd like to welcome you to join with us as we start over our program. And so I'll just allow all my panelists to introduce themselves, rather, from my far left. Yeah, we can start there.
I'm Gabriel, a pastor here at Life Celebration Center in Nakuru. You're most welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
Well, my name is Reverend Mary Maina, a pastor at Life Celebration Center, and also a psychologist and a co-host in this program. Welcome.
Yes, thank you.
My name is Anne Dongo from St. Paul's University, where I'm a lecturer in counseling psychology. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my panelists. It's amazing to have you here. It's a privilege to have you here, and many thanks for being here. So for today's discussion, basically, we'll just be letting our viewers know, because Pastor Mary, tend to talk about the Now Society, right? About the current issues facing and going around in our society, as we tend to just educate our viewers. So today, basically, we're talking about parenting. And being in our current era, parenting is quite a dynamic thing for most parents. So we just have to, give direction in terms of parenting. So the first question I'd love to pose to us: what exactly is parenting? Anyone might be watching and they're asking themselves, they've been hearing this word parenting, but they really don't know. So what is parenting actually? Pastor Mary?
Parenting involves so many things, Mercy. When we look at the Bible, it says, train a child in the way that child should go, and when they grow up, they will not depart from that way. So in parenting, it involves training. And in training, of course, there is the talking and the listening. So parenting generally will involve the parents who have been given that child, because every child is a gift from God.
Yeah.
So when you are given a gift, you take care of that gift. So it will involve training this child, and in the training you are not the only one who is saying what you want to say, but you are also allowing the child to talk or to speak, and especially if the child is grown up. And it involves every stage of a child, when they are young until they grow, and even when they are adults, you are still parenting. Even when they are married, you are still parenting. You have to give your advice. You have to talk to your children, whether they are young or they are old. So I would basically say that parenting is training.
Thank you so much. We can have some input from Pastor Gabriel.
Yeah, I agree with Pastor Mary. Parenting also involves so much. It involves providing, it involves protecting, it involves giving identity, it involves helping out this young person right from the time they are born up to the time now they are on their way out. And it can also go beyond that. So it is wholesome.
Yeah.
Making sure that this person becomes the best that they can ever be. Yes.
Madam Anne?
Yeah. In addition to that, it also involves correcting, guiding, being a mentor, and even punishing where punishment need to be done.
Right.
Yes, all this. Actually, we can say it is helping them to develop the right values in their lives and to know how to manage this life at various stages. Yes.
So just a simple question, Pastor Mary and Pastor Gabriel. If I am understanding you clearly, parenting is a whole process. It just doesn't stop at... Does it stop, actually?
I don't think parenting stops. it goes on and on. Because
Yeah.
when I look at myself, right now, I am a grown up, I have my own family,
Yeah.
but I still find my mom calling me and asking me how I am.
Yeah.
And that tells me that parenting does not stop. It goes on and on. Maybe it is until death
Yeah.
do us part. You only part with your child at that point. It is not only when, they move out of your house and they get married. Parenting is a lifetime commitment.
Yeah.
It's a God-given job, if I may call it
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That you take care of that person till the end. Yes.
Thank you so much. And Pastor Gabriel, is parenting just like one way, or are there different ways of parenting? Does one specific way of parenting apply to all families, or is it just different?
Of course, there are principles of parenting, but again, there is no one relationship which is like the other. Because now these individuals, when they come together, they are very different individuals.
Yeah.
In their personalities, in their backgrounds, they are different. And they come together and they bear a child. This child again is very, very different. So in their parenting, it has to be different from the neighbor's way of they are different. Their relationships are different, And now, so there is no one way of, bringing up a child. But of course, there are principles which we are going also to talk about as we continue.
Any input?
And maybe before we go to the different principles, or we can call them styles, different styles of parenting, because they are there and they've been researched. We may be forced to ask ourselves. We are talking about the now society. How was parenting during our time, Madam Anne, and during this time? Because I think it is dynamic. It has continued to change over time. The way I brought up my firstborn, it could be different than what is happening now. Maybe Madam Anne, you can tell us, how was parenting when you were growing up? Yes.
Parenting then, as we were growing up, was very different from the way we see it now. One, parenting was communal, so that the child belongs to the community, and any parent or any person of the age of the parent of this particular child took the role of parenting. They would correct, they would punish, they would guide them, they would talk to them. Unlike today, where parenting is an individual responsibility. At the same time, there was a lot of time that parents had with their own children. I remember I would do everything with my mom. When I go home from school, we shall go to the river together. On Saturday, we shall go to bring firewood together. We have that shamba to attend to together. There was a lot of time. Unlike today, where parents are out working, their children are taken care of by other people, and the time that there is between the parents and the children is limited. So we have this challenge of having inadequate time between the parents and their children. At the same time, there are so many forces that now influence the life of a child. Unlike then, children believed everything the parents told them because there was no other source of information. But today we have a lot of information from the internet. We have a lot of information from many cultures. So what they learn from these other sources may not be exactly what the parents are giving. And therefore we have a lot of conflicts, a lot of unanswered questions about who am I? What am I supposed to do as a child? And we also have many other teachers, quote unquote, that they can learn from this child, they can learn from this program, the TV, the mobile phones and all that. So it is a bit challenging today as opposed to then. And also, we had a lot of obedience. Actually, we were brought up to just follow instructions.
Right.
Today, there's a lot of, we hear a lot about the rights of children. And all these bring a lot of questions and a lot of limitations that parents have. Our teachers then used to be very powerful parents. Unlike today, today's teachers, in terms of parenting, they have a lot of limitations. And many times, the children are almost left without proper guidance.
Right.
Yes.
And yeah, you can go ahead.
Mercy, you've heard from Madam Anna that parenting children today is different from that time. I don't know whether you have noticed that difference, what she's saying, and she said that that time the child was a communal child, such that if I got you doing something wrong, I had the right to punish you. In fact, even to cane you.
Yeah.
Does it, is it happening?
Right.
Or how would you feel if I came into your space and started as a representative of the young generation? Do you see like it's still happening like
Surely, to be honest, it has really changed. It has really changed, especially with our current generation. And just as like Madam Anna has said, we have tons of information about, children's rights. So you come here caning me, and then I'll just be asking you, who are you caning me? You're not my parent, And let's even go to about caning. Right now, currently, our generation feels like caning is almost like a child abuse. Because I feel like many children right now, they actually don't know what caning is. They don't know what caning is. So there's quite a challenge right there.
So there are challenges in parenting today because we are no longer a communal society, and there is the Human Rights Act that if I cane you,
It's wrong.
it's very wrong. In school, caning was abolished. I remember when we used to be in class 1, class 2, we used to fear the teacher. In fact, I remember if a teacher passed by where you are, you stand.
Wow.
And if you didn't stand, you were caned. If you are ready to go to school, you were caned. And the parent could not question that. In fact, they believed that was the right thing. You should be caned properly. So you had nowhere to report. As a result now, we grew in fear, mixed with respect, obedience. Of course, that obedience was forced. And I can say that parenting was much easier that time. And just as Anne has said, parents have to go to work. We are living in a very hard economic times. Those days, we didn't need a lot of money. I remember we used to go to school without shoes. So the expenses were limited. And so parents had all the time to be with their children. And we did things together. If it is going to the shamba, we used to go together, fetching firewood, water, and all that. And in the course of doing that, we were able to learn so many things from our parents. They became like models where we could copy. Today, there is no time. We wake up in the morning, we take our cars and go.
And leave early.
We leave early and we come back in the evening. Where has this child learned? Who is this child learning from? From the TV, from the social media. So I think there is a problem.
There is quite a problem. And guys, we are just finish our first segment, and don't touch that dial. We're just about to take a short break, so let's see you after the break. back to the Now Society program, where we tend to educate you and help you understand what exactly is actually going on in our society. And today we are privileged to, have an amazing panelist. And today we are talking about parenting. So just in case you're tuning in, feel free to send this link or just tell a friend to tune in on Truth TV right now and not miss this amazing episode. And Pastor Mary, just before we left the break, you were just telling us about how vast and different parenting styles from long back are with our current times. What are some of the parenting styles? Maybe we can discuss that. Yeah.
There are about, or I can say that there are many parenting styles depending on individual. But there are a few that have been researched, and we are going to discuss like 5 of them, and one of them.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question actually. Yes. So when we talk about parenting styles, we are talking about how to parent, to do parenting, right?
Okay. When we talk about parenting styles, are those ways that different parents across the group bring up their child according to research.
Yeah, okay.
And one parent can use 1 or 2, or another one can stick to 1, another one can do a mix-up of so many of them. And I was just saying, maybe the first one is authoritarian parenting style. And Madam Anne will help us understand what is this style. I know it's there that is called authoritarian.
This is the style where parents dictate what to be done. They do not give chance for the children to contribute. It is you do because I have said it and I'm your parent. That's it. It has to be done. So there's a lot of dictating and directing. And this kind of parenting has its own advantages in that it makes the parent feel like they're in control. They're in power. Yes. And their voice is the only voice. But it has a lot of disadvantages because parenting, we help children to grow. But as they grow, there is what they learn. They learn that when a parent is using this authoritarian kind of parenting, they learn that I'm just going to be quiet because I have no ability, I have no strength, I have no power. But just a minute. The day I will get that power,
payback.
It will be a payback time. Or the day I will get out of this, all these things that you are telling me to do, I will never do. So that is not healthy because it brings rebellion. It makes them feel like they are helpless. Right. They have no authority. They have no position. They have no suggestions. And they grow up just waiting to be strong and rebel whatever kind of force that has been put on them. It is unhealthy kind of parenting. Yeah?
And maybe to add on what she has said, authoritarian parenting style is a parent just commanding, giving commands. You have to do this, and if you don't do this, the child is punished.
Yes.
So the parent is so much in control such that this child does not have any right.
Yes.
It is do as I say, but not even as I do. Ile tu ninataka ni ufanye ni hivyo utafanya, and there is no questioning about it. What happens to this kind of a parenting style is that the child will put 2 faces. When you are there, they will just do whatever you want them to do.
Sure.
But that time you will not be there or away from you, then they revenge. They will do the opposite. Yeah. All those things that you've been telling them not to do, that is what they will try doing so that they can also see the other side. So there are conflicts within this child because actually you've not helped this child to learn anything. You've only created conflict within because they keep asking, why am I not supposed to do this?
Yeah.
Why is my mother telling me not to do this? Why am I beaten all the time? So it is not the best.
Actually, it also lowers their own self-image, self-esteem, and it damages their personality. They become people who don't participate. They are only recipients of instructions, and that's a weak personality. So it's not healthy to have that kind of parenting where you deny the child ability to be creative, to be part of the solution, to be part of the changes. And when they are given a chance, they may not know how to function until somebody else comes to tell them, do this, because that is the kind of person that we have created within them. Yeah, as Reverend Mary has said, it is not the best.
Thank you. So maybe Pastor Gabriel?
Yes, I would say also in this authoritarian method of bringing up children or parenting seems to work when the children are younger. I say seems to work when the children are younger. But when they become later adults, adolescents, that is between 17 to 20, when they are now brains, cognitively they are learning to think abstractively. You know, this is the time they want to ask questions. Why don't we do this differently? Why don't we do this differently? And then the opposing force is so strong, and that is why they rebel. Because if all of us were to be one kind of personality, that would be the right kind of the world. And it is at this age they are supposed now to start now being of their own. They are supposed to take now their own forms. They are supposed now to think independently. And if the authoritarian force comes so heavily on them, then the only thing they do is just to rebel. Now, two things can happen. They can go under, you know, hide themselves in their rooms and say that they are not loved, or they rebel just to get back at authority, to get back at the authority that they know, which is the parents. Yeah, so they can go under and just decide, I am sealing myself off the world. I'm not coming out of my room. I'm not participating in every social gathering, or I want to rebel. Yeah, they go to the both extremes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Mr. Mary?
I think we've talked so much about authoritarian, but there is also the second parenting style that is called permissive. You permit, you allow the child to do everything that should be done. So this child in this kind of a parenting style have the freedom. You give too much freedom. There are no rules in such a style. It's not like the first one where there are always rules, do this. This one, firanga free. You are supposed to feel free. Whatever you want to do, you do. Nobody will ask you a question. If you want to do it your style, there are no boundaries. You can talk anyhow, even to your own parent, because from the word go, there have not been any rules set. There are no limits. So this is the opposite of authoritarian parenting style. And of course, it has its own advantages and its own disadvantages.
Maybe I can say more about this kind of parenting. It's a very dangerous kind of parenting because many times these children will learn from their own mistakes. And some of these mistakes could be very costly. Yeah, by the time they realize, they will even challenge their parents. Why did you allow us to go through all this? Why didn't you guide us? Why didn't you stop us? You know, we didn't know what is right and what is not right. Why didn't you guide us? And sometimes it can be very chaotic because there are no boundaries. You can imagine a life of a child without boundaries. And a child without boundaries can destroy themselves. It can cause a lot of harm in the house, a lot of destruction. You know, you try the TV to turn this knob until it is out. Try the other one. Why don't we try this gas? Why don't we try this? You know, it's a very, very risky kind of parenting. Yes, they will have the freedom to experiment, but we never know some of the outcomes of some of these experiments. Yes, they will be more creative, but very dangerous.
I think, Madam Anne, I don't know whether you're like me, you've seen this kind of parenting in some places. The child is running up and down, for example, jumping on the seat,
Yes.
turning the knobs, as you
Yes.
say,
Yes.
bringing all the cups down, and the parent is there looking, saying, wait, just something like the parents are doing nothing. And by the end of the day, that kind of parenting style is very destructive. Things are destroyed and you are saying nothing about it. They can even abuse you in that kind of a parenting style. And sometimes you see like the parent is not doing anything about it. They go to the supermarket and they demand things and they are bought for. You buy things as a parent, even those things that you had not planned that you buy. Just because you are using that kind of a parenting style. There are no boundaries, you've not set rules anywhere. So children just do whatever. And just as Madam Anne has said, it is dangerous because one day you will have to answer a few questions when they have grown up. They will still blame you for not teaching them. Remember, when we began the program, we said parenting involves training. And this training, you should tell the children what is good and what is bad, I believe. She talked about discipline. You discipline your children. Yes.
Thank you so much. Any input, Pastor Gabriel?
Yes, this is where the child never learns boundaries and limits. So that at least the young man that will grow to know that they are entitled, with the entitlement. So this is a young man who will go and ask a girl to befriend them, and if they are told no, they are not used to this. So they will create dramas, they can even harm them because they were never told no.
Right.
They knew whatever I want, I receive. Whatever I decide to do, I can do it at whatever time I decide. And I think they get into many dangers. They can get into many dangers because they do not know limits. Yes.
Thank you so much.
And I am just wondering about that parenting style, permissive.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the children who have not been brought up, for example, by their own parents. Do you think children who've been brought up by grandparents, a grandfather, a grandmother, what would happen to such a child? And this grandfather, grandmother don't have rules because, by the way, they brought up their own children. Now you brought the grandchildren, and they like making them feel happy. Will they be able to set rules, or could we be permeating the grandfathers and the grandmothers to introduce such kind of a parenting style? I know not all of them. Many of them maybe would be aware that a child needs to be disciplined. But majority of this kind of leaving your responsibility to your mother to take care of your children, I think I have seen like that kind of parenting style come up very strongly. I don't know what the others have to say.
Yes, what you have said is right. You see, there is the role of everybody. There is the role of our parents. Like the mothers and the fathers, they are the ones who set rules. By the time they have become grandparents, they are not able to play that role. Actually, they become friends. Grandparents are not parents to children. And therefore, they cannot give boundaries and limits. They cannot discipline. It is past their age. Grandparents are playmates to their grandchildren. They are friends. They give freedom. They fight for the children. Therefore, when we take our children to their grandparents, we are denying them that ability to learn discipline, to learn limits of authority and freedom. So parenting is done by parents.
Yeah.
Grandparents are not parents to these children. When they handle them, they'll handle them like their own playmates, age mates, and there will be no limit. And it's a challenge in most cases.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
I think also, maybe what also contributes to this is when a parent, having been a child who missed so much, who did not have privileges, then they got bitter and said, my child will never go through what I went through. So I'll provide for them whatever they need, not knowing that having got those challenges is what made you as a parent. It made you tough. It made you to be able to bear things, hard things that come away on your life. And now you deny this child by overindulging, by oversupplying, by protecting them so much, or leaving them out. Yeah. What I would say.
Thank you so much. We continue with the conversation right here on the Now Society program. Just in case you're joining in, you're not too late. We're going for a fast break, so maybe you can, tune in. So you who are watching, don't touch that dial, and see you after the break. Welcome back to the Now Society program with me, your host, Mercy Protas, and today we are talking about parenting. And we before the break, we just concluded on one particular style, and you mentioned about a grandmother and a parent, and at the same time a child having a conflict with each other because the grandmother is saying this, the parent is saying this. Yeah, so I think we can just continue on that same note. Yeah.
I think we were talking about the permissive, where the child is allowed to do everything they want, and grandmothers and grandfathers are so good in that. They allow you to do everything that they allow the child to do everything that they want. At the same time, the mother or the parents to that child are feeling that whatever the grandfather or the grandmother is allowing is not good. So it's like the grandparents and the grandsons and daughters gang up together, and the person they are fighting is the parent. So it's like there is a conflict and they have a common enemy. That is why they come together and they seem to be understanding each other. Because mom says like this, the grandmother says no. So they gang up together and they can be able to they can be able to collaborate very well. And I'm sure, Mercy, you've been to the grandmothers and your grandfather. Did you ever feel like, now I am in the right place and my mother should not interfere with this relationship anymore?
Yeah, because at some point, like my grandparents become a favorite now because, mom says, don't do this. Then my grandparents are like, no, they have the freedom to have it. So why exactly? So I really relate when you talk about, having this common...
This collaboration,
this collabo with my grandparents. And now it turns to my grandparents being the best. Now we look forward to being with them because they support what
you want.
Our parents don't, yeah.
And you also dictate even what you are going to eat. You dictate what time you are going to sleep.
Yeah.
And your grandfather, your grandmother will not tell you anything. So no wonder parents these days are more comfortable. Children, sorry, not parents. Children these days are very comfortable with the grandparents than they are with their own parents, because there is a lot of permissiveness. There is a lot of freedom when you go to your grandmother and your grandfather's place. I don't know what Pastor Gabriel you'd say about this collaboration. Do you think it's healthy or?
I don't think it is healthy because I believe that where possible, there are things that may happen and it may not be possible. But where possible, parents are supposed to raise their own children, not to take them to their grandparents. Because at times when they go there, when they come back, there will be some kind of laxity, there will be some kind of comparing that we had a good life over 1 month, now we have come back to prison or something like that. And I think a grandparent at times will always see you, the parent, as a child, and maybe not able to parent your own children. And they will see you as a child always. Yeah, and they might not believe that you have the capabilities to bring up their grandchildren. Yes.
And maybe I would ask, do we notice these children who've been brought up by the grandparent in our society today? Can we be able to tell, hey, you have been brought up? It's like we are suspecting. This could be, maybe they were brought up by their grandparent because they seem not to obey any rule.
Yeah, we can see them and say, yes, it's true, because these are children who will always feel like, I have protection. I have protection. I'll go and report to, I should be given the freedom to do what I feel like. So you see that they are not very good in following instructions. They are there and we can notice them. But I also feel it is important for grandparents to play that role, because they provide a buffer for the child. When things are very bad, the child has a place they can run to and feel secure. Like in those early days, I'm not very old, but I can say those early days, if my mom annoys me or I'm not happy with them, my father and my mother, I'll go and report them to my grandmother or my grandfather. Yes. And they will come and say, leave her alone, leave her alone. And I feel like, I have a place. When things are too bad, I don't have to suffer rejection. I have a security for me. I have an advocate who will speak on my behalf. And the voice of a child has now room to be heard. And I feel secure. And I think it's good.
But I think what we are saying here, it is very good, but there should be balance.
There should be balance.
Balance. They should not go there and you make now your grandparents are the ones that are going to bring you up and you can only listen to them. It is good to go there when you feel down so that you can get some comfort.
Yes.
You don't feel alone. You feel that at least there is somebody who can listen to me. But that balancing is very important because we said that parents have to take their role very seriously and not to transfer. So I think it only requires a bit of balancing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, is there any other style, Pastor Gabriel, aside from the two that we've just mentioned?
Yeah, there is the authoritative style of parenting, which seems to be the best, because this is where there is a conversation.
Yeah.
There is that kind of calm, let us reason together. There is that kind of, what do you feel? How should we go about this? There seems to be a kind of a balance in this, and it should be one of the best kind of bringing up and parenting style. Yes.
Yeah, and I've noticed, I feel like there's a really big gap with the various, correct me if I'm wrong actually, with the various generations that we've had. Like the millennials will not be the same. Does it apply, does a particular style apply to for example, the Generation Z, the Generation X, the millennials? Yeah. Do you guys think it actually applies?
Yeah. I think it does.
Yeah.
Because the parents who were children in the yesteryears would conform very, very easily.
Right.
Would conform very, very easily. though there are bruises to show and they were hurt in some way, it was like an abuse then. But of course, it worked well for them. When we had authoritarian parents who we wouldn't ask questions. No, it was a taboo to ask. It was a taboo to ask any question. It was even a taboo to look at a parent when you are talking. Yeah, you could be hit. Why are you looking at me? And then you look at, why are you not looking at me? So there was never a time that you knew what to do. Yeah, it was like you are suspect every time. And rules were not very clear, yet you had to follow them somehow. So if that kind of parenting, authoritarian, if it was put today, it has no place. It cannot work because today's generation will ask questions. They have more teachers. They have so many teachers. They are open to information. They are comparing things. They are comparing parents. They are comparing everything. And I think right now that may not work. Yeah, the kind of, the one that will work is authoritative. It can work right now. And I think every parent, it is good that they conform to this kind of parenting. Yes.
Yeah, this parenting style is very healthy because there are boundaries, but these boundaries are explained. So this child understands why they have to do that, why they have not to do that, what are the challenges, what are the risks of doing this, what are the risks of not doing, advantages of this, and they have even time and chance to ask, unlike the authoritarian where you don't ask. And it has to be done because I said so. But there is partnership, which is very, very healthy. There is explanation so that even the child understands why I should not do this, how far should I go, and why. This is very good, very healthy, and also brings parents close to their children. There is teamwork and maturity, because the child also feels they are respected. They are also given chance to think and bring their ideas. So it also makes them develop very strong characters, people who are responsible, people who are able to know the limit, people who can contribute. And this brings a whole person who is healthy in so many ways and able to deal with the different people. These are people who can cope well even when they are out of home. These are people who are well adapted to deal with the new ideas and even to interact even with the new people. It's a very healthy way of parenting.
And you've mentioned a very important aspect, and I'd just love to ask a question for the parents watching. You know, how are the ways a parent can strike a balance to ensure, a child is allowed to explore themselves fully, and at the same time, there's a boundary towards, for instance, if it's gonna be reading, you have to, set this boundary. We have to ensure that the child is in school, but at the same time, how do you ensure that there's that balance?
Okay. It is very important for the parents to prioritize and know what they are supposed to do and to create time for this child. And not only to create time, this time has to be quality time. And also they need to avail themselves and create time to talk with the children, give children an opportunity. Availability is one of the challenges that we have today.
Right now, yeah.
You know, we are very busy. With so many things to be done within these only 24 hours that we have. But it has to be intentional, that the parent will create time to be with their own children and guide them, talk with them, get to understand what they are going through and explain what they are going through, and give time for the children to ask questions. It's also good for these children to know exactly what parents are going through. Let's have open opportunities that the children know who their parents are, what they are going through, and how much they can chip in. They can chip in by being supportive. We work together, we cook together, we work together, understand the importance of you doing your homework and completing in good time. That can work very well. So being available, prioritizing and creating time and opening our lives to our children, and we work as a team. Not some are supervisors while others are servants. No, it should be a team and partnership in the family.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Madam. And as we come towards the end of our segment, I'd love for us to just give a parting shot or something of the sort on parenting. Yeah. Maybe we can start with Pastor Gabriel.
I would say parenting is quite a challenge, and no one goes for classes first and then be given now the children to manage them or to bring them up or to parent them. And even if you had to do that, again, relationships are so different. No one relationship is like another in this world. Every relationship will be different. So it is challenging, but God gives us the grace. It's also good to learn, to keep learning, and that is why we have this kind of program, to be able to talk together. May not be the best experts, but at least when we start opening these lines of communication, a parent out there will not just say, nimeshindwa. The worst thing would be for a parent to give up and say, huyu mtoto amenishinda. And it may happen, but it is even worse when the child hears that ameshinda mzazi. It can be a hopeless case. Yes.
I would want to say to the parents out there that parenting is a lifetime commitment and a partnership also. So it's good to use the best parenting style, like the authoritative parenting styles, where there are rules, and the rules are explained, and there are boundaries, and also both the parents and the children are involved, such that you don't have to put another face and show your children that you don't have problems. We share freely, we do things together, and it's like we are in a partnership. That way, it is going to work very well for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. In addition to what has been said, I would like to say that parenting should be friendship. And a friend loves always. A friend supports. A friend understands the other. So as parents, let us be close friends to our children. We correct them with love. We support them. We also let them know we are not angels. We also make mistakes and we can be corrected. They are also our friends to correct us. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists who made time to be here today. May the Lord bless you abundantly. And to you, our viewer, I hope this session has been of amazing impact to your life. So catch us next Friday for the Now Society program. And just in case you have any feedback whatsoever, kindly send your feedback and text in on the number on your screen. And also follow our socials for the latest updates on such programs. See you next Friday at 8 p.m. This is the Now Society. I have been your host, Mercy Protas, with my amazing co-host,
Reverend Mary Minor. God bless you.
Amen. Till next time, see you then.